Things are heating up, NFL fans, surrounding the three biggest unsigned quarterback free agent names still on the market right now. My name is Trace Moustakas. Welcome in to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. You can call me Moose. And like I said, the latest quarterback controversy surrounding some still unsigned NFL free agents is the subject of today's video. And you will not believe the third-party quarterback that has entered into this weird love triangle. Now, before we get into that, make sure that you hit the thumbs up. If you loved our Week 1 free agency coverage, we went live for pretty much every single day of Week 1 of free agency, and we got some great feedback from you guys. And if you want more content from the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and more, make sure you hit subscribe, you hit that thumbs up, comment, and share with your friends. Now, before we get into our quarterback rumors, this is not really a quarterback rumor. It's more of just a trade rumor. The Bengals, after getting the deal done with Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins, still hope to do a deal with Trey Hendrickson, despite granting him permission to seek a trade. It won't be easy, but they are not giving up there. That was this morning, by the way, from Jordan Schultz. So it kind of looks like the Bengals are not going to be letting go their star power players, re-signing T. Higgins, re-signing Ja'Marr Chase, and now trying to get their deal done with Trey Hendrickson. Now on to our first quarterback, Mr. Russell Wilson. I know you guys are tired of hearing all of these names, but there keeps getting more developments around this weird kind of like old quarterback market where these guys are trying to sign with the new team. It's all just crazy. But Russell Wilson recently met with the Giants. He met with the Browns. And here is what Mary Kay Cabot had to say about Russ meeting with the Browns. Steelers free agent quarterback Russell Wilson is still in the mix for the Browns, although they haven't necessarily made him a formal offer yet. Wilson's visit on Thursday, in which he met with the Browns for morning shortly after 2 p.m., was the opportunity for both sides to get to know each other and see if it was a good fit. So from everything that I've heard, especially seeing what Mary Kay just said, it was a very, very low-key, chill meeting between the two of them. It was very informal. It was a shaking of hands. And I said on a previous episode, it seems like Russ is doing this for leverage over the Steelers. I think he personally wants to go back to the Steelers, but he's open to all possibilities if it means playing football, and as a starting quarterback in 2025. And if you take a look at the last couple of years, Russ, obviously, when he went to Denver, not great. He got better under Sean Payton that 2023 season, but even that wasn't a great fit. He decides to go to Pittsburgh, comes in for Justin Fields after 6 games. And, Russ played pretty decently. So you're never going to get the same Seattle Russ, right? But you are going to get a very controlled Russell Wilson and a guy who is a decent starter in the NFL and someone that could possibly mold a draft pick like a young quarterback coming out of the 2025 NFL draft. But here's what I have to say about it. Wilson, the reason he's taking so long is because Rodgers is taking so long. And Wilson realizes that there is leverage as long as Rodgers continues to hold out. He realizes that once Rodgers makes a decision, the pathways open tremendously for him because Rodgers is still better than Wilson at this point. Now, again, both of them getting much, much older. Rodgers is at the very end of his NFL career. Russ is starting to gear towards that. So Russ realizes that, hey, once Rodgers signs, the big playmaker is out of the way. And Rodgers, who we're going to pivot to right here in a second, is kind of holding up this whole process. He will not make a decision. And personally, he has not made a decision on where he wants to play football. Now, he's thrown out different names like the Steelers, the Giants. There's been reports from multiple analysts that have said he's going to go play for the Steelers. No, he's going to go play for the Giants. And then all of a sudden, Rodgers kind of throws the Minnesota Vikings into the situation, and it just causes this whole love triangle, like I alluded to earlier, of chaos. And really, if you think about it, the Vikings have thrown the monkey wrench in the process because they're still deciding if they want to go with J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted last year but got injured in the preseason, or if they want to ride with Rodgers, who would be following the exact Brett Favre narrative pretty much to verbatim. Entire career with Green Bay, goes to the Jets for a couple of seasons, signs with Minnesota, retires. That kind of seems like what is trying to happen, or at least from Aaron Rodgers' perspective, that's what's going on. So the truth is, the Vikings have thrown the monkey wrench in this. And when I talk about the Vikings currently right now, it seems like when they make a decision, everything will start to move. And truthfully, I don't think the Vikings should sign Aaron Rodgers. I have a bunch of people that cover the Vikings up where I used to live in Fargo, North Dakota, and in Minnesota. Kind of lived right on the border. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, they believe that Rodgers will not play for the Minnesota Vikings in 2025. So that would leave either the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New York Giants, or something that we haven't really talked about, retirement. It's a possibility. I mean, the dude's 41 years old. Like, he's at the very end of his career, and Tom Brady's the outlier, playing until he was, 45 years old? So it would not be the craziest out-of-left-field decision for Aaron to say, yeah, you know what? If I don't get to play for the team that I want to play for, I'm just going to pack it in and maybe sit out a year, come back out of retirement. Tom Brady did it too. So I think that your best bet, if you're Aaron, is to go play for the Giants or the Steelers, but he wants to play for the Vikings, and that much is clear. So let me ask you this. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to play, and do you think he's going to sign this week? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's going to be one of the pinned comments on today's video. I want to see as many replies to this as possible. Now, coming up, there has been a brand new quarterback that has entered the love triangle, so to speak. And there are three teams that have make up the love triangle, but now a third quarterback, and you're not going to believe who the name is. Now, before we get into that, I want to give a big shout out to our friends and today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks is putting their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. You can make the game way more fun with Prize Picks. All you got to do is go to your app store, click the download button. It's that purple P with the black background, and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. And March Madness, by the way, is coming up, so you can get in on Prize Picks action with there as well. Again, the code is just CLNS for $50 instantly when you play just $5. 10 million members and counting, and all you have to do is sign up today and win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Run your game. So here's the brand new guy that has entered the love triangle, Mr. Joe Flacco. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, Joe Flacco is like the best backup in the NFL, right? Well, truth be told, he has now met with the Giants and met with a bunch of other teams, and he's now waiting on Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. So Joe Flacco could be in play for some of the teams that I mentioned previously. Here's what Mike Florio had to say about the whole Joe Flacco situation. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are getting the headlines, but Joe Flacco is waiting patiently to see how it plays out. Flacco recently visited the Giants. He's in play, we're told, for jobs with the Steelers, the Browns, and the Vikings. Okay, let's take a second here. I don't see him being in play for the Vikings. I think the Vikings are doing their due diligence. However, I absolutely do see him going back to Cleveland because Deshaun Watson is no longer going to be starting due to his ACL tear, and that means your week one starter is most likely Kenny Pickett. That's not good. I think they would much rather roll with Joe Flacco, who has played under Kevin Stefanski. He knows what kind of offense Stefanski wants to run. So I think if Russ doesn't make a decision on signing with the Cleveland Browns, they're going to pivot and go towards Joe Flacco. So that would, again, leave Russ wide open with the Giants and the Steelers, who it's down to with those two teams for him. And then Aaron Rodgers would sign with either one of those two, the Vikings, who I said are really not in play, or retire. So it's all just a bunch of weird forks that kind of go off if this guy does this and this guy does that. That's why they're all rumors, because when one thing happens, 3 more ripple effects come of it. And if you take a look at what Joe Flacco did in the last couple of seasons, he's really not that bad. I mean, he was way better than Anthony Richardson was in 2024, who by far was the worst starting quarterback in the entirety of the NFL. Flacco, at 40 years old, can still give you 6 to 7 wins, in my opinion. He's going to give you 5 or 6 games a year where he looks pretty competent, kind of like the old Joe Flacco. But let's be real, he doesn't have any mobility anymore. He lives inside the pocket, and he's turnover prone. Threw 7 interceptions in just, 6 games started? So he's very clearly a player that, while he can give you some productivity, he's just slinging the ball right now because he's enjoying the last couple of games of his career. So he is going to be more turnover prone. But honestly, for a minimum price, for a veteran minimum, to bring in Joe Flacco, I think you have a really, really good shot to at least stay competent. And he could, if you were to bring him in to, let's say, Cleveland and then draft a quarterback at the number 2 spot, he could mentor that young kid for 1 year and then let the reins be taken. So there are a lot of different avenues that you could explore with Joe Flacco. It's not just about Russ and Aaron Rodgers. But speaking of those 3, those are the 3 big ones that we talked about in today's show. So type AR for Aaron Rodgers if you would rather have him, Russell Wilson with a RW, and Joe Flacco with a JF. All right, a little random impression time. I like to throw these into some of my videos just to kind of spice it up. And, honestly, with some of the slower news days, it becomes a little bit more of a game for me to play to kind of get you guys more engaged rather than just hearing the same old stories over and over again. So I'm going to pick a random impression in my head. I like to do them all the time when I'm walking around the house. I'm not saying I'm any good at them, but I do them. So I'm going to go with Herbert the Pervert from Family Guy, if you know who he is. Hey, Chris. I got a whole freezer just full of popsicles. Why don't you come on down to the cellar? How was that, Mr. Producer? Not bad? He said it was pretty good. But if you want to give me a grade, I would totally appreciate that. A, B, C, D, or F. It can be an F, honestly. If you're like, dude, don't quit your day job and honestly, you might have to quit this job. That's totally fine as well, as long as you're getting down to the comments and commenting. And speaking of which, make sure to also subscribe, like the video, and share this with a friend. Chat Sports just passed over 403,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 500,000 strong. My name is Trace Moustakas. Until next time, be cool.